Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here, and today is Back to Basics Techniques Tuesday. It's been a while, I know. Yes, I thought we would get lots of videos done, Thelma and I, when she came to visit. But we were just too busy. We had too much fun, too many things to do, too many things to go see and explore, that the videos just kind of fell by the wayside. I am sorry, but it was an awesome time with Thelma. And now I have to play catch up. And so there will be lots of videos coming up. We will be back to what I call spinning plates. And that actually came up in a conversation yesterday with Caroline. I had mentioned that, when I have videos and creative stuff in my market and going picking and cleaning stuff and doing household things and trying to have creative time for myself, I call it spinning plates. And so sometimes I can have 5 or 6 plates spinning at a time, and sometimes I crash and only one plate is still spinning. But now I'm getting all my plates spinning again and back into being creative and having some creative time with you. So when we left off the last time, we worked on these little notebooks that we stuck inside of our journals. And this just pulls out to give you a full-size writing space. And I had mentioned that I like to leave them floating as opposed to gluing them in the book, only because I like to be able to write on them easily and not have the interference of having a small, tight space, or maybe it's a little bit lumpy. So that is my feelings for that. But they certainly can be glued in the book. Now, I made a couple of them, and I did say I was going to show you the finished results of the things that I did on that day. And so in my book, I have one here tucked away. So I've tucked it into that little corner pocket. Remember when we covered the envelopes and we snipped off the corners? So I tucked it into that little corner spot there. I probably would like to secure it a little bit further with a paper clip of some kind or some type of a clip. But I will let it just lie loose like this until we have a day when we're doing some kind of clips, and then this will be the first thing to clip. And I figure if it annoys me long enough by falling out, that I will probably get to that pretty quick. So I made 2 of these. So one is going in this book, and then one I will reserve for another project coming up. You know, there's always things where I want to add stuff into. So this will go into my finished ephemera box. And then I made 4 tags, and if you go back and have a look, you'll see that I had discovered that when I was doing this, if I put the lace and just glued it on the sides, it gave me a little spot to tuck something in. So when we were cutting up something, I can't remember what we were cutting up, but when we were cutting up something, I had these leftover strips of paper, and all I did was I folded them in half, tore the edges, inked it up a little bit, and now they are tucked inside the butterfly belly band. So they turned out really cute. Oh yeah, they were left over from the paper I put on the back. That's what it was. It was a couple of strips from the back sides. And so these are just tags that are ready to go in my journal now. Again, I will put one in my journal and put the other 3 aside in my ephemera box so that I have extra pieces to work with. The tab at the top was just to create a pull tab, and just made with the same fabric that I used to create the little snippet on the front. So if you need a refresher, just go back to that video and have a look at the projects there. The last video. Now, I don't know what part this is. Part 9 maybe? Part 8 or 9? I'm not sure. So I've got quite a little stack of stuff here that's going to go in this book eventually. But I've just added a few pieces here and there with you. Oh, I see that this is upside down. Yeah, or is my book upside down? No, it isn't. Okay. So yeah, you've got the same kind of ephemera that I do. I just probably have a few more extra pieces. And yeah, so today we're going to make 2 new pockets and do some stuff with a little bit of a twist. So, this first pocket that we're going to make, I'm just going to put this book aside here because I will come back and glue it. This first pocket I'm going to make uses a half of a sheet of paper of an 8.5 by 11. You can make them smaller or larger. I just chose this size because, you know, we have paper in this size. You can use book pages, scrapbook paper, whatever you have. So I had made one earlier just to make sure that the 8.5/11 worked nicely. And then I just pulled out a book page out of a book. It's a little bit larger, so I'm going to trim it down because I know that this is going to fit nicely in my book at 8.5/11. So I'm just taking, you know, there's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm just taking my scissors and trimming off this excess. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. I probably could have just tore it with my ruler. So working with this piece now in the 5.5 by 8.5. So it's an 8.5/11 sheet of paper, and you can use your scrapbook papers too. I'm going to show you one with scrapbook paper, and I just cut it in half. So I call this pocket the Twin Peaks pocket. And you have your paper, it's a rectangular, so you have the long side in front of you, and so it would be landscape, not portrait. Okay, so landscape. And taking the corner on the bottom right, you're just going to bring it up about, I don't know, it's about 1.5 inches. You want to make this sort of a loose square. Don't get too caught up in making it perfectly square. Just a loose square. So it looks like it's about 1.5 inches to do that. Okay, so once you've got that paper there to that corner, I'm going to just do it again, taking the bottom right corner, bringing it up past the paper to create this sort of a square empty space there. And then I'm going to just, moved around here. I'm just going to pinch and fold my paper down. Just like that. So now I'm going to turn the paper so that the fold is landscape. Okay, the long way, or horizontal. And you can see I have my two Twin Peaks right there. So now, where the peak is just starting to get to the bottom on this side, I'm going to fold the paper in. And you may have to adjust this a few times just to get yours right. And I'm going to fold it right along the bottom where the fold is. So I'm just going to press that into place. And then I'm going to do the same on this side, just where the peak is getting to the bottom, not quite. I'm going to fold it in again. The idea being that you want these two pieces to overlap. Sort of like Dutch doors overlapped. And again, you know, it may come out a little wonky the first time you make it. You just play around and refold it again if you have to. And so my two doors overlap. So now, if you look, I have a little spot here sticking up, and I can slide this and tuck it inside. So that now holds this pocket together, and you've made your Twin Peaks pocket. That's what I call it. So, I had a piece of paper here handy. Well, I don't now. I'm just going to grab one of these. So to show you, this lady is from my French ephemera sheet in my coffee store. So if I show you, I have now created a little tuck pocket there. Can you see that? And then you have a second one here that you can tuck a little deeper into the pocket. And then you have a third one here. The only thing with this one is that this one is really just a tuck, because you can see it slides right through. And then you have the fourth one at the back, and that is secure all the way to the bottom. Now you can, where you see this is going right through on the third, number 3 pocket, you can just pop this open and put a little bit of glue, just a bead of glue along there, and glue it closed. Or if you're putting it in your book, you may have it on the page and you can glue something over top to finish it off like a label so that the item doesn't go through in that third spot, because this would close it off completely. Another option is just to leave it. So when you glue this into your book, let's do it onto this page here so you can see a little bit better. So when you go to glue this into the book, you can leave this so that it's open. And if you look at the back side of this, you can see where the two peaks have crossed over. If you want to just glue this down on the full size piece, or the bigger piece, not this little piece. If you want to just put glue on this piece here and glue it into your book and leave this open. Sorry, I opened it. And leave this unglued. So you can still tuck something in there. You could tuck a letter in there or something, you know, or a piece of paper, or a tag. It just might jiggle around a little bit. But if you just glue that one piece in the back, you get the 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets, and you can then open it up to be a full-size writing page. So depending on the type of paper you use, you can now use this as a writing space, a hidden writing space. So that's gluing it all the way onto the pocket. Let's close it up again. If you only glue it on this side, the bottom, and this side, you now create a fifth pocket. So when you put it down on your page, you will have a pocket at the back as well. So you will have a 5 pocket pocket, and it opens up to be a full-size writing space where you still have the original pocket here. Does that make sense? We're going to do another one like this. So that is a super, super duper easy pocket to make, and the possibilities are endless. You can also collage on the outside, but I would recommend that you keep your collage and your decorative elements very, very light if you are going to use it as a writing space, because the items are going to be on this side and this side. So if I open this up, they would be back behind this and back behind here. So it might interfere with your writing unless you just write in the center. You can also, once you've created the folds in this and you know where the writing spaces are going to be, you could actually put some lined paper, some scrappy bits. If you're working with book pages, you could put some scrappy papers in here to write on, like some leftover coffee paper and another one here. And in which case, then it wouldn't interfere with those two pieces if you're just using the main larger sizes to write in. So then you can put something a little bit heavier to decorate and create elements on your pocket. So that just gives you one idea. And so we're going to make another one. I'm going to, since I had this coffee paper here, I'm just going to quickly line it up and cut it in half. That's the fastest way. And, you know, I'm not used to that. I bought myself one of those rolling carts, and it's way over there on the other side of the room. So I'm very limited to what I have right now because it's rolled away on me on the other side. I realize now that when I set up the camera, I moved it out of the way because I'm not used to that thing yet. And so there might be a few things out of reach, like my glue. I may not be able to glue things down today. I know I do have a glue stick with me. So let's make another one. I'm going to use this decorative paper, and the same thing, horizontal. Now I'm going to work on the white side. And you may want to, if you've got scrapbook paper, you may want to coffee dye this or color it or enhance it a little bit so that you're not dealing with the white. But the white doesn't bother me. And for the most part, when I put these in my books, I usually just use coffee paper or book page anyway. But same thing, you're going to take that corner peak or corner, bottom right corner, because you've got this horizontal on your work surface. And you're going to bring it up past the paper. I see I didn't cut it perfectly straight. Don't look too closely. and make sort of a loose square empty space there. If you sort of know what I mean by this little empty space. Very loose, doesn't have to be perfect. And then pinch and fold to create your 2 peaks. And then where the peak is starting to come down to the bottom, that's sort of where you lightly fold it. And this is actually going to be good because you'll be able to see the contrast with the 2 colors of paper. And fold it over. And then you're going to do the same thing with this one so that it meets and tucks. Folding it along the bottom where the original fold was and pinching it down. And then you can now tuck this into the fold. So again, now that you can see the different spots with the color, you can see that I have a little pocket here, a little tuck pocket. This is great for a ticket or a little mini tag. Then I have a bigger pocket where I can use something like a journal card or a hang tag or whatever. Then I have this third pocket that slides right through. So it would be something you might want to put something a little bit heavier, or maybe even something that has a tab on the top so that you can catch it so that it doesn't come right through. So there are some different methods there that you can use to catch it before it goes through. And then you have the fourth pocket, which is a full-size pocket for something larger. And depending on how you glue it on the page, so here again, because the 2 colors, it might be easier for you to see. I would put glue on the long side, across the bottom, and up this side, not touching this part or this part. This way I create a 5th pocket at the back, and it allows me to open this up to create a full-size writing space. Isn't that awesome? And then just folds back again to put in your book. So I'm not going to glue. I realize I don't have my tacky glue here, so I'm not going to glue my pocket into my book, but I am going to find a spot for both of these. So give yourself at least one, probably a good idea to create 2 so that you can see one in scrapbook colors. I don't even have a paper clip here to paperclip it in. So you can see one in you know, what it looks like with two-sided colored paper. And again, you can always decorate it yourself. I just said this again. I noticed lately that has been my word. So please forgive me in my overuse of the word again. I'm trying to not use it, and I'm trying to not use it repetitively, but it seems to keep coming out. But yeah, find a place for your pockets, and those can go into your journal. So I'm going to put one here, and then I have a tuck there. So I'm going to go a couple pages over, and I'm going to add this onto here. So that will be something I will add into my book later on, with some fun ephemera that I'm going to tuck in. So our next pocket, I can't believe how easy this is going to get, is again using, oh, see, I said it again and again, is going to be using book pages. Now I'm going to use a couple of sheets. I'm going to pull them out. And I'm going to use a couple of sheets of book pages or scrapbook page as well. Now I'm just using a half sheet. I probably will have to trim this down a little bit. And I just, you know, I should at least color coordinate them a little bit, right? I've got something here that's pretty neutral. Yeah, let's use this one. Actually, I'm going to just use my coffee dyed paper here, but I will cut one more so I have a sampler in case I have to cut some more for you today. Now this pocket is a fun pocket for me to make. I so enjoy this. Well, let's just use that one. Okay, so I've got the book pages. I cut out 3, so I'm going to trim those down as well, just so that I'm working in the same size. And I don't have a cutter here. I don't have any of the extra little tools. I don't even have a ruler here. I can't believe I did that. Got to get used to that rolling cart. Okay, so when we make a regular pocket to go in our book, we either use a double-sided book page if we want, or, you know, a double-sided scrapbook, or you can use single as well, you know, depending on how thick and sturdy you want the pocket. But for this one, I'm going to use, or I'm going to start out using a double paper so that it's finished on both sides, and it gives it a little bit more thickness. And I'm going to do the same thing with the book page. I'm going to fold it in half the long way, from the long way. And again, I have a nice thick double pocket. This looks nice with this image on the front. Now, it's going to probably have to trim down a bit to fit in one of my pages. So let's just try and find a very neutral page. Here we go. So it's a little bit too big for my page, so I will have to trim it down a bit. And just quickly do that. And cut these down. Now, I'll see one more time to make sure that it fits, because, you know, we cut and then we say oops and then we cut again. Yes, it fits very nicely in my page. So now, I'm going to do the rest of these the same way, and I will have a total of 6 pockets. Take me a few minutes here. So I hope you've got some paper that you can use and make these along with me. If not, you've got homework. I love saying that you've got homework. It's just so much fun. Okay, so I already know that the pockets fit. Just gonna gather them up and cut them. Now you can cut them on your paper cutter, of course, to make them a little bit more straight than mine are. Or you can live on the edge and cut them the way I do. Okay, that's the boring part. So now that you've got your pocket made, you can still adjust the size and the depth of your pocket. Maybe you don't want it quite as long as this, but we will play with them first, and then you can make that decision after. Now, if you have a fancy pantsy punch, like one of these, here we go, that you can make a round cut into it, by all means use it. We want to use about halfway point. So I'm going to do that here. We're going to make it a half of the circle point. Does that make sense? Half a circle on the fold. Okay, so now you have this little circle piece here that should be a full circle when you're done, and you're going to put that aside. Now, if you don't have one of these punches, you can use a lid from a jar or a sealing jar top. So we're just going to take the jar lid and do one of those. So I'm going to use the jar lid for the paper ones, and I'm using the punch for the other ones. If you have that, that's great. If you don't, then just line up about halfway here and then take a pen. Thank goodness I have a pen on the table. And I'm just going to hold it down. And I've traced around it. So if you can see the line mark, you could use a pencil, you can use a crayon, whatever you have. And I'm just taking my scissors and I'm cutting on the outside of the pen mark, of course, so you don't see it on my pocket. And I've cut it out and I have another circle. So I'm going to do the next 4 of these. So if you want to do them along with me, that would be great. And I'm just lining it up here. And the only reason I'm doing both the scrapbook paper and the book pages is just in case you don't have one or the other. Or you want to mix and match. It really doesn't matter. Okay, cutting those out. And this one. Okay, so I have the book page ones. And then I'm just going to line this up. And take my punch. So you can see it's a different kind of hole here. So I actually prefer the jar lid. But some people will be happy to use one of these too. And I'm going to measure and do this one again as well. And there we go. So I'm going to put the circles aside because we are going to come back to those circles. And we're just going to work with the pockets for now. So I've got 3 scrapbook ones and I have 3 paper ones. And if I had used the same tool to make both, I would interchange them with each other just to add some more interest. But because of that, I don't have the tools here to, they're different sizes, as you can see. They're completely different sizes. So I'm just going to use these 3 and these 3. So I can call this a finished pocket that I put in my journal. Just like that, and it is ready to have something tucked into it. And here we go. I just got this little piece of paper here. So I can put a full-size journal card or a tag or some folded paper, whatever I want, by just gluing on the 3 sides and having a spot. Now, because it's doubled, I can glue these together to give it a little bit more strength before I glue them down. And, of course, trim off any off edges because, you know, when you fold, you don't always fold perfectly straight. But so I can glue the whole thing together and make one sturdy, good-sized pocket. The only thing is I don't like those little corners. I've told you that before, so I can cut the corners off or just round them a little bit. And again, it's just a nice little pocket. Maybe ink it up a little bit if you want, or dress it up with a little bit of decorations, and you're good to go. Or I can take a second one do the same thing. Glue it together and glue it just underneath this one on the 3 sides. This one's already glued down to the page, and I can have a pocket up here and another pocket below it. Or taking the 3rd one and you may want to round corner the bottom edges as well, or cut them off into little, little hexagon, flat corners. So I could have a staggered set of 3 pockets. Now I may want to put this just a little bit lower because, what are you going to put in this pocket if you don't want it to stick out of the book? So you would glue this one down first, then stagger this one a little further down and glue this one down, and then stagger this one down and glue this one down. And you have 3 staggered pockets. But in this case, using the 3, this does become a little bit bulky. So you may not want to use the whole thing, the double thickness, because that's 2, 4, 6 sheets of paper towards the bottom here. It gets to be quite thick. So just taking my scissors, now I take my scissors and I cut off the fold instead of trying to cut along the fold. And the reason for that is you always end up with that little bumpy thing on one or the other in some spot. So to just cut off the fold on both sides, you now have 2 pockets. So when I turn around and do the same with these ones, I will have a total of 6 pockets that I can glue down to make 2 staggered pocket sets. So you either do it the double thickness if you're doing 1 or maybe 2, but if you're doing a staggered set of 3 pockets, you may want to just use a single layer of paper. And so just like that, I now have 6 pockets. But I'm not going to put 6 pockets all on the same page, of course. I'm going to do a staggered set on this side as well. Although, personally, I may not do a staggered set on both sides, unless it was maybe the middle of the book, because it does create a lot of bulk. And you also have to be super, super careful as to how you line them up, each one, so that they match on both sides. But that gives you an idea of how you can have 6 pockets in a couple of seconds, staggered one on top of the other and glued down individually. So you can do the same thing with the colored paper, which I'm going to show you. Round cornering the edges. Where the circle is. And like I said, you can take off the nubs at the bottom corners if you want. And on the outside edges. So I'm going to do all 3 of these. So I'm taking off the corner here just a little bit, just trimming it off so it's not so pointy. And a little bit there at the bottom. I'm going to have these little nubs all over my desk, but and doing this one. And like I said, you can ink them up as well. Everybody has their own personal preference to that. So just staggering them one on top of the other and gluing them, deciding where you want the top one to be first, because that's wherever you put stuff in, that's as deep as you're going to get to go with that pocket, right? So you want to be able to stay within the bottom of the pocket So you may have to adjust these or shorten the height of the pocket to make it a little bit shorter. So you could have a pocket that size instead. And because it's a lot of thickness, again, I'm just going to take the fold and I'm going to trim it off. So you can see how much I'm taking off of these papers. Just a long sliver, just enough so that it gets rid of that fold so you don't have that little wonky little piece that's sticking up. And just like that, I can make 6 pockets. Cascading pockets or layered pockets, however you want to call it. And if you choose colors that are complementary, you can mix it with book pages. The only thing is, like I said, I would have mixed it with the book pages, but I used 2 different methods for cutting the circles. So there again are my 6 pockets, but because it would be way too much bulk to have 6 pockets here on one page filled with stuff, I would either only use it one-sided, or I would look for the middle of my signature because there seems to be a little bit more, where's the middle of my signature? Here we go. So then you just get a little bit more room because this elastic kind of spreads the 2 papers apart. Doesn't that look nice? Actually, I think I'm going to leave those there. Doesn't that look pretty? The other struggle that you're going to have is lining them up perfectly with each other so that they complement on both sides. But I will do that part off camera. I don't think I need to glue these down in front of you. I'm sure you can figure all of this out yourself. So just gluing on the 3 sides, starting with the top pocket first, making sure you know what you're going to put in there or how much space you want in order to fit something into there. So if I take this journaling card, I know I either have to put something a little bit smaller or lower this down enough to fit this in here, and then stagger the rest accordingly. And you don't have to have huge pockets for each level. You can make them shorter or taller. That's entirely up to you. But once you've started the first one and you know where the first one is going to be, then the rest will fit as well accordingly. And it will just keep staggering down and down all the way down. So that's another fun pocket. And then we had all those circles. Here's the circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles. Okay, I love this page. I'm going to glue this down as soon as I'm offline with you. Just move that out of the way. Now, we're going to make some tabs. And, you know, we can make tabs all different kinds of ways, and I'm going to show you a few different kinds of ways. But one of the most popular tabs is to use a tool called the whale tail punch. And it's not a whale tail tab. It's just that this punch represents a whale and a whale's tail. So people get caught up with the idea that the whale tail punch, that's the name of the little punch. And I don't have one here. I don't have the whale tail punch, the actual punch that makes that tab. I have a knockoff from China, just the little metal dies. I picked it up on, I think, AliExpress. It came with 5 or 6 different kinds. And I use it so rarely, I don't even know why I bought it. But so many people get caught up on this punch. And it, if you go and look on eBay and search for a whale tail punch or Etsy or any of those other places, people are selling these for in the hundreds of dollars because it's discontinued. It was originally made by Stampin' Up and they discontinued it. Why they don't bring it back? People are going crazy for it. I don't know. But just the same, it's so expensive. And if you don't have the means or the reason to justify buying, $100 punch, then don't buy it. There are so many ways to make tabs that I don't understand why people get caught up just on that one little punch. No, I have a circle. Yeah, here it is. So I have cut a circle and it's folded in half. Now it can be used just like that as a tab on a page. So bringing back the book, I can just put a little bit of glue on either side and have it sticking out like that to create a tab. You know, it would be complimentary on this page, you know, to use one of these ones that are here, or I can use it further on in the book to again bring everything together. To bring everything together and you know, match things up a little bit. Although we don't really care, or are we worried, because this is our techniques book, it still doesn't hurt to use everything that we have and it matches. So I can use it just like that. I've created these pockets and I got a free tab out of the deal just like that. Or I can take, let me use this one. I can take the tab and I can cut it just like we would cut a shipping tag. A little corner on the side like this. Pick up your little piece if you need to measure. Flip it over. And cut it again. And I've given you a different shape. Just like that. Or if you have a little round punch, I can take this corner and pop it into the punch. And I am doing it based on a quarter. So if you look at the circle punch here, it's kind of like having a quarter of a piece of pie, right? You know, you just measure a quarter in, and I'm punching it out. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, measuring about a quarter in. And you can practice with your own punches. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a different size punch. And I'm taking the corner off of there. Now, where I've cut out this corner with the round punch, I'm going to round out those little nubs. Just like that, top and bottom. And there is the coveted whale tail punch for free. There you go. So that's 3 different methods to the same circle that we punched out of our pocket. So I've got 3 different tabs. I'm going to do it again, except now, so this one's a little bit bigger, but I'm still going with the pie shape, about a quarter of a pie. That's how we like to eat pie, right? A quarter of a pie. That's how my husband likes to eat pie. Using a circle punch. Oh, these things are flying all over the place. Rounding out the nubs. So you can make these any size, depending on the size of circle that you use. Rounding this off. And there is your little whale tail tab again. So you can double them up if you want. You can use them individually. And it all goes back to you can use it like that. You can make some shipping tag corners on there. Flipping this over. And you've got another tag ready to, or another tab ready to go. And one last thing that these are great to use for is to glue onto the front of one of your pockets so that you open it up and you have a little secret spot to write. So you can make the inside plain, or you can use a scrap of paper where the inside is already white, or you can add a little piece of paper in here to write on and fold it closed. Later on, we will be making embellishments to create a little bit of weight so that it holds this circle down. You can also glue just along the curve. Oh, look how pretty that is. Okay, so you can glue just along the curve, glue it down. You've got a fourth pocket. I have something here to show you. Yeah. Okay, so you have a fourth little pocket here that you can tuck something into, and you have a hidden writing space. So there you go. We've made all of these pockets. We made the Twin Peaks pockets. You made some tabs, including the whale tail punch, tab punch. So you have lots of different options and ideas to work with. Now you can glue these down wherever you want in your journal to create tabs for your book. There's lots to work with. I've got 5 here, and I've got a pocket, a hidden pocket with a hidden writing space. So you've got lots to play with here just to build in this book. I hope you enjoyed this because this is so much fun for me. I love this, and I love how these have turned out. So I'm going to play afterwards and glue all of this down. But while I've got you here and got your attention, you have your homework to do all of the... Oh dear, I left it upstairs. I'll have to show you next week. But you've got all your homework to make these pockets. And next week we're going to have where we use a kit from Caroline's Craft Tree. I don't have it here. I thought I brought it downstairs with me, but I didn't. Caroline gave a really nice kit as a free gift, because she reached 4,000 hours on YouTube, 4,000 watch hours. So I am going to link to her YouTube channel. And if you go to her YouTube channel, you will find the link to her coffee site. I will also put a link to her coffee site here, but let's show some love to Caroline. Go in and check out her videos. Go in and watch a video or two to show her some love. Subscribe to her channel too. And then find your way to her coffee site where you can find her free kit that is the 4,000 subscribers freebie that she gave away. It also wouldn't hurt for you to join her Facebook group. Caroline and I work together a lot, and we share a lot of things and we share ideas. So I definitely love sharing her channel with you as well. And it just makes us work together and come up with different ideas that are great for all of our subscribers. So do go and visit her channel and show her some love as well. But if you want to pick up her kit and maybe have it pre-printed, or at least have it on, ahead of time so that you can see what I'm doing with the kit, we will be doing some stuff to add some ephemera and papers into the book. So that'll be next week. I've also got a couple of new freebies on my coffee site. So do check the link below and go to the free site. There's a page of some fun, colorful birds. And then there's some bohemian style, kind of a watercolor abstract violins with flowers. They are really, really cute. So go and check those out. And that's it for today's video. So you've got your homework, get your pockets made, get your tabs made, and be ready for next week's video. Thank you so much for watching and for coming in and joining me. Please leave me some comments below so I know how you feel about this. I'm pretty excited about this. Was a fun segment. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. Have yourself a very creative day and a creative week, and I promise you there's more coming. Plates are spinning. Bye for now.